Hi, gang. It's Patrick.
And Adam.
Coming up on today's episode, we put our Eaton dresses on as we explore our Fab Five themed restaurants in Disney. As always, we discuss the latest Disney news, and we close out the show with some quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Adam Amuse-Bouche Hummel.
That phrase always gets me, you know?
I do, because we're 6 years old.
That's right. Patrick, hold the mayo Kazuki.
I will never hold the mayo. I will hold the mayo and then put it in my mouth because I love mayo.
That was actually a command for you to hold the mayo on my behalf. Squeeze it into my mouth and then just throw a couple of seasoned fries in there and let me do the work.
Perfect. Maybe mix it with another dipping sauce and make it a fancy sauce.
A lot of sauces going on. You know what? There can never be too many sauces, can there?
There can never be too many sauces. I'm a dipman, if you will. I love a good dip.
We all love a good dip, don't we? If you're not a dipper, stop listening to this podcast.
Just get out of here. Get out of town. Adam, how are you, sir?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I am also quite well. You know, we were chatting a little bit prior to recording, and for those who may know, there are some horrific, really, wildfires happening in Canada right now. So take care of yourselves. I don't know if they're still going, but a haze has sort of been bestowed upon the Midwest, and it is, I'm trying to say it as nice as possible, it is really affecting me, and I'm blaming Canada. I am blaming Canada.
Well, who else are you going to blame?
And really, it all comes down to affecting me. This is all about me, these wildfires.
Yes. How PK is affected. And I think you don't really need to question anymore if there's a wildfire going on. There's just always a wildfire going on, isn't there?
This is true. The globe is literally on fire right now, everybody.
Yeah, and right now it just happens to be in Canada, but I mean, we've certainly been victims to the wildfire on our own West Coast.
Are you considering yourself to be on the West Coast, Adam?
I'm actually East Coastal. I moved east of the Mississippi, remember?
Or are you're taking ownership of all of the United States?
Why wouldn't I?
I'm just clearing things up for our listeners at home.
I own 95% of this country.
Well, speaking of wildfires, Adam, we have a podcast to do.
This episode is going to be fire. That's what it's going to be.
It's a dumpster fire. That's for sure. It's a gender reveal dumpster fire.
And the gender is, let the child decide.
There you go. Is that too soon for that joke? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think things move so quickly these days, Patrick. You have no choice but to make a joke about it.
Oh, we're getting shut down. We are losing listeners by the second. But speaking of listeners, Adam, we have to celebrate one of our listeners who recently became a new Patreon family member. Melanie has just joined our family.
It's a Patreon reveal episode.
It really is. Longtime listener, friend of the pod, Melanie. Thank you so much.
Melanie, thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate your contribution to this little podcast.
It's very true. You know what? We're going to be seeing Melanie in the parks. She will be there on the 50th.
So, Melanie, you can just hand that month's payment over to us in cash when we see you in the parks.
Direct deposit to my hand.
Oh, we can put it towards fries and dipping sauces, Patrick.
And corn dog nuggets.
So many corn dog nuggets. Care of Melanie.
Care of Melanie and all of our Patreon family members. Adam, tell the Tweedles at home who are not Patreon members yet how they can become Patreon members and just what is a Patreon member.
There's a lot going on. There were so many questions there. I'll start with how you can become one. Or maybe I should start with what it's all about. Let's start with that.
What's it all about?
Patrick, Christ Superstar.
We are off the rails today, everybody.
Okay, so a Patreon family member for this podcast just means that you are a supporter of the podcast. It means that you are contributing financially It can be a very low dollar amount. In fact, it can just be $1 a month. Or you can go up right up to $100 a month and really just say, hey, you guys have got it. I support you. You're going to go all the way.
I like that you set our bar at 100. We're worth no more than $100 a month.
Isn't that where the tier ends, or can they just contribute anything a month?
I think you can give us your entire paycheck every month if you want to.
Oh, we'll do that.
No, don't do that.
Do that, won't you please? No, don't do that. We're not worth that, certainly. But you can contribute at different tiers, right? And you become a patron of the podcast, which is so great. We really do appreciate it when you join at any level. And to do that, you can head over to gazetothed.com and click on the donate button. And that will take you to our Patreon page, where then you can select what tier you want to join at.
That's exactly correct. And there are some bonus opportunities for you should you become a Patreon member. If you select one of our specific tiers of donations, we will send you a gift in return. It might be a mug. It might be a t-shirt. Who can say? Who can even say? I can't, because I simply can't remember what they are. But at any level, you will automatically receive extra special episodes of Gaze Do the D called Gaze Do the D Raw and Uncut.
You will receive those episodes, and they are a hoot.
They are a hoot when we decide to record them. We have not been good about that. We will be doing one very soon. We have some things cooking up for all of our Patreon members. But also, you will automatically be entered in Patreon-only giveaways. That is just for Patreon members. You have to do nothing to be included.
That's a big bonus, is it not?
It is a huge bonus. I can see that bonus all the way from across the street. You know?
Patrick. Yeah. But how many times in your life are you like, oh, I just don't want to. I don't have the energy. You don't need to expel any energy in entering our giveaways if you're a Patreon family member, because you're automatically entered.
That's right. We do the work for you. You're welcome.
So, Melanie, thank you. Thank you to all of our patrons. We are so grateful to have you hugging us with your money.
I love money hugs.
Moving on, Patrick, and bear with me because this is going to get a little confusing. We need to talk about this week in Disney history feedback from last week. Does that make sense?
Oh my gosh, some history on history.
That's right. So many layers of history. And this feedback is regarding your mention of Treasure Island in last week's This Week in Disney History.
Ah, yes. Disney's first live-action film with no animation.
Milestone film for Disney. And Tweedle Rob, who you can find on Instagram at zippity-doo-dah-days, wrote in to say this. So fascinating. He says, I wanted to send in a bit of trivia regarding the news item of the anniversary of Disney's Treasure Island. According to experts, our entire modern idea of how pirates talked stems from Robert Newton's performance as Long John Silver in this movie. So you can thank him and the scriptwriters, surely, for all the R's and shiver me timbers and lily-livered lubbers that we throw around.
I love that. I actually did know that. It's super fascinating. So when we think about Talk Like a Pirate Day, we can thank Treasure Island for that.
I identify as a lily-livered lubber.
Okay, fair enough.
Rob goes on to say, also, Disney made 3 other films in England due to the same situation that prompted the filming of Treasure Island. The Story of Robin Hood and His Merry Men. I saw that movie once, but I don't think Disney produced it.
I think they did.
It was a porn.
Oh. That joke flew right over my head. I wasn't ready for it.
Not a successful joke then, Patrick.
Okay, fair.
I'm going to go back and workshop it. The Sword and the Rose and Rob Roy. I highly recommend the Robin Hood adaptation, which is the only one other than Treasure Island that is available on Disney+. It's well made, in color, and the star, Richard Todd, is quite easy to look at.
It's very true. If I'm remembering correctly, I believe the movie poster actually has him topless in the poster. It's quite the scandal. It's quite the scandal.
Topless in tights?
Topless and in tights.
I like that look.
That's all I wear.
Few are brave enough to pull it off, but Patrick, you pull it off.
It's a real act of bravery for me. Oh, dear. Well, thank you. Thank you, Rob, for sharing that information with us and with all of our Tweedles.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. I love when our Tweedles write in, share their knowledge with us, because then everybody learns. Every single one of our listeners, we learn. We're all learning.
We're all learning. Everyone's a winner here. Everyone's a winner. And speaking of sharing knowledge, we had another listener write into us, Adam, regarding our questions in Peter Panzer's episode, specifically in Dan's proposal that is upcoming. We had our listener Jeff from Instagram, Fun Jeff, reply with some helpful information for Dan should he choose to accept these tips.
All right, Fun Jeff, this information better be fun.
It's true, you've set yourself up for failure with a name like that, but I have no doubts you won't disappoint us. Jeff says, "Hi guys, loved the questions and Peter Panzers this week and happy 150. Proposal, tips, ideas for Dan. It will forever be your spot, so it'll be special wherever it is. I popped the question after dinner at Monsieur Paul, so that little back nook of the France Pavilion is our spot. Every pavilion has a great location. Wacky idea proposed during a photo spot on a ride, like the hitchhiking ghosts in Haunted Mansion. Timing is tricky, but could be amazing. Crescent Lake is gorgeous at sunset, the Boardwalk Wedding Pavilion, Yacht Club Lighthouse, Beach Club Beach, I assume he means the beach at the beach club, even Saratoga Springs has great views of Disney Springs, and then head to the boathouse to celebrate. Great advice. Jeff, great advice.
Yeah, I love that span of ideas, ranging from dinner at a restaurant to the wackiest of wacky ideas, proposing in an on-ride photo.
How cute would that be? You'd have that photo forever. Although those photos always look I always look crazy in those photos. Let's be very clear.
Probably better to ask for a divorce in an on-ride photo.
That would capture the emotion a lot better. Fun fact, I actually have been talking to Dan, and I know how he's going to do it.
Tell us.
I will not tell you. That is a secret, just in case Dan's partner is listening. I will not reveal that information.
Oh, okay. Well, Dan, you better follow up. And you know what? Follow up with a voice memo. Do it, Dan. Do it.
While you're proposing. Actually, click record while you're proposing, and we want the video. We want the exclusive here on Gays Do the D.
I love it. Oh my God, we're so TMZ now.
We really are. We really are. Well, thank you, Jeff, for that feedback. And thank you, Rob, for your feedback as well.
And if I may tag something on to that, Patrick, we have so many questions left over from last week's Questions and Peter Panzer segment. And we did mention last week that we would be holding them for another segment, or we'd pop them into an episode if they applied to something we were talking about. But we also, in the past, have done Quick D questions from listeners. So maybe we'll start to pepper those in too, because we have so many great questions left over. And I just want to apologize again that we weren't able to get to all of them. So they will be in an episode. We promise we'll get to them. Get off our backs.
Stop screaming at us, won't you?
Stop screaming, please. But thank you again to everyone who submitted. You really blew us away with all of your questions. Patrick, it's time to transition straight into This Week in Disney history.
Buckle up, everybody. It's about to get history in here. I don't know what that means, but here we go. 71 years ago, on July 26th, 1951, Alice in Wonderland premiered in London. Fun fact, I actually did not know this. Each of the 9 old men worked on animating Alice in Wonderland. Now, interestingly, Alice in Wonderland did not do well in the theaters initially. So to reach a bigger audience, Disney decided to show the movie on TV as one of the first episodes in the Disneyland TV series. It was then re-released in theaters where it was a much bigger hit. Now, again, critics were not fond of the film at first, but over time, it became a fan favorite and is considered one of Disney's greatest animated classics, and it is one of the biggest cult classics in animation history.
Gotta thank Mary Blair for that, right?
I mean, it's so beautiful. It's just gorgeous to look at.
Her gorgeous styling. That Mary Blair, she knew about color, she knew about shapes, and she knew about style.
She did. She was not afraid of a contrasting pattern. She made it work, you know?
She made it work.
Oh, well done, Alice in Wonderland. One of my very favorite movies. Moving on, 100 years ago, Adam, on July 26th, 1921, writer and actor Gene Shepard was born in Chicago, Illinois, known in the entertainment industry as Shep. Now, last week, we talked about Rhoda Williams, who voiced the daughter and the mother in the Carousel of Progress. Shep was actually the replacement voice for the father. So Shep replaced the original father, Rex Allen, in 1994 when Disney updated the attraction by adding the modern era scene. Of course, the father has such a big speaking part, there was no way to introduce this new voice in just one scene without the entire show sounding super weird. So he re-recorded every single scene for the attraction. Now, as a piece of trivia for everyone, Shep is actually most famous for narrating one of my favorite movies, A Christmas Story, which he co-wrote based on his life.
Yes, when you hear that voice in A Christmas Story, if you've seen Carousel of Progress, you can absolutely make the connection.
I actually did not make that connection. I had no idea until I read this piece of trivia.
Oh, well, I'd like to add on a fun fact, too, and that is that Shep actually murdered Rex to get the voice of the father in Carousel of Progress.
That is neither fun nor a fact, Adam. Neither fun nor a fact.
I got it off the dark web. It's true.
Fair enough. It must be true. Moving on. 102 years ago, on July 27th, 1919, screenwriter and Minnesota native David Swift was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota. David Swift was best known for his 1967 screenplay of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. But for Disney, he wrote Pollyanna and Candle Shoe, and he wrote and directed The Parent Trap. Now, here's what I did not know. He was also an animator. In fact, he worked on the animation team for Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, The Reluctant Dragon, and Peter Pan. And his last project, unfortunately, was the screenplay for the remake of The Parent Trap in 1998 at the age of 79. So we all know that Lindsay Lohan killed him.
So much murder in This Week in Disney History. But again, these are all facts. We're just passing along facts.
Nothing but the facts, ma'am. Nothing but the facts.
Now, why is it unfortunate, Patrick, that his last screenplay was the remake of The Parent Trap?
Didn't love it. For me, personally, didn't love the remake of The Parent Trap. I am such a fan of the original.
Okay. I think a lot of younger, more attractive Tweedles will take umbrage with that.
I'm not sure why more attractive was thrown in there, but okay, fair enough.
Well, they're younger, so automatically they're just more attractive, aren't they?
Got it. Rude, but okay, fair. Come at me. I'm an original fan.
I know this is going to floor everyone, but I have not seen the original Parent Trap, and I have not seen, despite the fact that Dennis Quaid looks absolutely hunky in it, the remake of The Parent Trap.
So you're coming for me about a movie you have not seen yet.
Yes.
Got it. That makes sense. That tracks.
Good. I'm glad that makes sense to you.
In our next episode, Adam will watch a Disney movie.
Listen. There's plenty I've seen. We've been through this so many times before. I feel like I don't need to explain myself again. Do I?
Stop watching Beauty and the Beast just for one day. Just one day. Put it on pause and watch a different Disney movie.
Unrelated, Patrick, yesterday when I was picking up my dog Penny from daycare, one of the workers there asked me who my favorite Disney princess was.
Just out of nowhere?
She was listening to Radio Disney in the lobby area.
Oh, okay. Got it.
If that even still exists, Radio Disney. Anyway, she was listening to some kind of Disney affiliated music and she asked me who my favorite Disney princess was. And all I could think was, I'm off the clock, lady.
So you just ignored her. You said nothing in return.
I told her it was Penny. It's my dog, Penny.
Oh, of course. The prettiest princess of all, Penny.
That's right. Have I endeared myself to you listeners with that story?
Nope. A resounding no. And with that, we close the vaults to This Week in Disney History.
Probably our best This Week in Disney History segment ever.
No one will ever say that phrase.
And that means, Patrick, we just glide effortlessly into the news.
We have more exciting news to report as Disney World prepares for its most magical celebration on Earth. First up, guests arriving at Orlando International Airport will be immersed in the magic as soon as they deboard their flights. Guests will find a wide-spanning art installation in the terminal train station featuring Disney characters and a dazzling glow of iridescent light patterns projected throughout. The installation will also include an immersive photo op with a recreation of a Disney ride vehicle. Additionally, Disney will be working with the airport on a new Magic of Disney store, which will be located in the new South Terminal Complex in 2022. Moving on to the parks, Disney announced reopening dates for 4 of its entertainment experiences. On August 1st, Wonderful World of Animation will return as a nighttime show at Hollywood Studios. And on August 15th, Beauty and the Beast Live on Stage will also return to Hollywood Studios. On August 8th, Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor will return to Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom, and Turtle Talk with Crush will return to Epcot on August 21st. Moving back to Magic Kingdom, the Hall of Presidents is scheduled to return sometime this August, with President Joe Biden's audio animatronic joining the cast of former presidents. As per tradition, the table next to him will hold items that represent the president, including peach blossoms to represent his home state of Delaware and a pair of his iconic aviator sunglasses. No specific date has been set yet, and no word on the rumored Muppets incorporation into the attraction just yet. Also in Magic Kingdom, the Partners statue in the center of the Castle Hub is getting a refurb right in front of guests' eyes. Disney decided to spruce it up in honor of the 50th anniversary, but also decided not to remove the statue from the hub. Currently, the statue has been stripped down to bare metal. It will then be cleaned and a new layer of patina will be added, followed by a protective layer of polymer and wax. Now, it actually, I don't know if you've seen pictures of it, it looks really beautiful right now, all stripped down. It's got a very vintage old penny look to it.
I have seen it. It looks really, really beautiful. And similarly, I also have a protective coating of polymer and wax.
As you should. You're dainty, Adam. You're fragile.
Mm-hmm. Don't touch me. No touching.
No. Now, ending on some interesting news that made me feel some things. Adam, previously we announced that the 2 new nighttime spectaculars, Disney Enchantment and Harmonious, would be debuting on October 1st at Magic Kingdom and Epcot respectively. We also knew that Harmonious would be replacing Epcot Forever. We now also have confirmation that Happily Ever After in Magic Kingdom will officially be retired on September 29th and fully replaced by Disney Enchantment. The news came as a surprise to Disney fans, me included, as Happily Ever After debuted in May of 2017 and only really had a 3-year run, as it, of course, shut down in 2020. Now, it should be noted that guests can still see Happily Ever After in its final run right now through September 29th, but be aware that it likely won't play every night due to the Halloween after-hours party.
You're mad about it?
I am. I really grew to love Happily Ever After, and that song is so good, and it obviously took a lot of time and talent to create that really beautiful song, and I'm wondering if they're going to use it somewhere else maybe, or if it's just going to go away.
Well, the good news is that we'll have the song, at least, right? So we'll have the song going forward. Disney has not yet released it, I believe, on any of its like Spotify or Apple Music stations, so they should release the full show, I think, anyway. That'd be really great to just have the full show in audio form.
I think it is. Maybe not the entire, like, with the clips of music, but, like, that song, Happily Ever After, is available.
Right. I'm talking about, like, the full, gotcha. Experience. But I think this is something that we're going to have to get used to as Disney fans. I think these shows are going to come and go much more quickly now just because we have the technology, we have the know-how. Listen to me. I'm like, it's so easy to change out these shows, Patrick, but I think it is easier now, and I think Disney's going to want to keep things fresh or freshen things up more often for repeat guests. So I think we're just going to have to get used to this.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's smart of them to start training us to have things evolve quicker than normal. Goodness knows Wishes was around for 80,000 years, which people loved. But I mean, I think that we quickly came to love Happily Ever After. I think I just wanted a little bit more time with it because it was so beautiful and so lovely. But as I understand it, the new show, Disney Enchantment, will be even more inclusive and include more characters of color and include more women as heroes as opposed to just princesses. So I get it. I totally get it. I'm a little sad about it.
That's okay. You have every right to feel that way.
Thank you. I need my dips to comfort me.
Patrick, I have some Marvel updates for you.
Marvelous.
I wasn't going to make that joke, and then you made that joke.
I clearly was. I'm going to make it every single time.
It sounds like Marvel's reboot of Blade, starring Mahershala Ali as the iconic vampire hunter, has found its director. According to a July 19th Deadline exclusive, relative unknown director, and interestingly, former butcher, Patrick.
Okay, fair.
Bassam Tariq, best known for helming the Riz Ahmed film Mogul Mowgli, is in talks to helm the new adaptation of the popular comic. Tariq's hiring falls in line with Marvel identifying young, up-and-coming talent early in the directing realm, just like they did with Taika Waititi after he directed Hunt for the Wilder People. Tariq marks the sixth person of color to direct a movie for Marvel, joining Ryan Coogler, Chloe Zhao, Destin Cretton, Taika Waititi, and Nia DaCosta, the latter of whom was recently named director of the Captain Marvel sequel. Kevin Feige has made it his mission in recent years to diversify not only the cast appearing in front of the camera, but those behind it as well, and recent hires have proven that. Moving on, Michaela Cole has joined the ensemble cast of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, the sequel to the hit Marvel film Black Panther. According to a July 21st Variety exclusive, character details are locked up per usual. Insiders say Cole has joined director Ryan Coogler at Atlanta's Pinewood Studios, where production began last month. Marvel Studios declined to comment on the matter. Cole exploded onto Hollywood's radar in 2020 with her critically acclaimed HBO Max series I May Destroy You, for which she received 4 Emmy nominations. Patrick, did you watch I May Destroy You?
I did. Yeah, you may destroy me. Come on. If you haven't, do so. Go stop what you're doing now.
It may destroy you, just so you know. You may be destroyed by it. It is an emotional roller coaster. In addition to writing, directing, and producing, Cole starred in the show as a popular writer processing rape trauma in contemporary London. Cole's other on-screen credits include Black Mirror and Chewing Gum, the latter of which she also wrote based on her play Chewing Gum Dreams. And she obviously appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race UK as a guest judge. Obviously, we're going to bring that up. And you can learn more about this exceptional woman on episode 231 of RuPaul's podcast, What's the Tea with Michelle Visage. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is set for wide release on July 8th, 2022. Interesting, Patrick. Interesting. There's a lot of rumors flying around the internet, and it's really a first for the internet that rumors are flying around on it. But a lot of people in the know and comic book fans are speculating that she's playing Storm from X-Men.
I'm interested. I have to say, I'm very excited about this Blade reboot.
Yes, I haven't seen the Wesley Snipes version of Blade. Did you ever catch that?
Yes, it's actually very good. It's very gory. It's a little bit of a horror movie, actually. In fact, our friends over at Once Upon a Scream reviewed it for their show. I have to believe they're wetting themselves now that it's going to be a Disney vehicle.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Disney's going to kind of wiggle its way into horror.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's a very complex character, Blade, so I'm very interested. I'm thinking once it comes out, if we should look into getting an interview with the vampire,
I'm processing that right now, Patrick. I'm processing what you said.
Oh, I'll come back to you with a better joke later on. Disneyland Resort has just completed its second partnership with the Anaheim Union High School District in support of Anaheim's innovative mentoring experience, or AIM. Through AIM, Disney selected 6 high school students as interns who were paired with mentors to learn the ins and outs of specific areas within Disneyland to prepare them for college and their future careers. This 6-week program immersed the mentees in experience integration, industrial engineering, finance, marketing, human resources, and public affairs. At the end of the 6 weeks, the students created an integrated business plan and presentation for a hypothetical theme park event. A quote from one of the students, Hannah Zhang: "Disney's mentorship program helped give me a great insight into the opportunities and jobs in the workplace. My personal mentor helped me arrange meet and greets with other professionals at Disney so that I was able to better narrow down what career I would like to explore in the next stage of my journey in college." Support of the AIM internship program is part of Disney's Workforce Development Initiative, which provides mentorship and career readiness opportunities to Anaheim students and residents. The initiative also provides funding to support nonprofit workforce programming in Anaheim.
What a tremendous opportunity for these stupid kids.
Adam's a little bit jealous. I am too. These opportunities were simply not available, or at least I didn't find them when I was in high school. I wish I had, because that would have, I feel like, changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah, incredible for these students to have this kind of connection and kind of experience, something to put on their resume that they were able to be a part of this program. I would have loved to have been a part of something like this, except for the finance part.
You could have been a Karen from finance, Adam.
Oh, wait, that's an insult.
Mm-hmm. Yep, sure is. Sure is.
Let me just fluff up my pixie cut before I come at you.
It's true. I wish that I had these opportunities, but, if all else fails, you can have a podcast about Disney.
Dream big, kids. Dream big. I'm thrilled that we get to close out our news segment with this story, Patrick, because I am so excited to announce that Disney Plus has acquired the rights to Billie Eilish's concert Happier Than Ever, a love letter to Los Angeles, filmed at the Hollywood Bowl.
Okay, great. Adam, do you know who Billie Eilish is?
Yeah, obviously I know who Billie Eilish is. Yeah, she's totally cool, right?
Okay. Yeah. Continue. I want to see what you're going to do with this story.
I will continue. I know all the facts, and I'm a big fan of Billie Eilish.
Yep, this is a fact. This is a fact.
Directed by Robert Rodriguez and by Oscar-winning Patrick Osborne, the special features the LA Philharmonic, conducted by Gustavo Dudamel. The special will also include animated segments, quote, taking viewers on a dreamlike journey through Billie, who I absolutely know, through Billie's hometown of Los Angeles and its most iconic backdrops. Happier Than Ever, a love letter to Los Angeles, also features Billie's brother, who I also am such a fan of, and musical collaborator Phineas. Of course, his name is Phineas, along with the Los Angeles Children's Chorus and Brazilian guitarist Romero Lumbabo, with orchestra arrangements by David Campbell, who happens to be Los Angeles icon Beck's dad. I also know who Beck is.
This is like listening to my grandfather tell this news story.
Happier Than Ever, a love letter to Los Angeles, will air on Disney Plus on Friday, September 3rd. Patrick, I'm going to watch it.
Oh boy, I don't think you are. I don't think you are. If history has proved anything, Adam, it's that you will not be watching anything live action in Disney.
How dare you? I'm such an eyelashy. That's what her fans are called, eyelashies.
I wish that were true. Well, hello there, Adam.
Hello, Patrick.
It's been ever so long since I've heard your voice. 3 seconds, in fact. But you know what, Adam? We should tell our Tweedles what we just did last week. We had a planning committee party for our upcoming trip to Disney World.
That's right, as you probably know at this point, and if you don't, you're not really fans of this podcast. Patrick and I and some of our friends are going to be heading to Walt Disney World to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the resort.
And to celebrate friendship.
Mostly that.
Mostly that. That's right. So you, me, and our good friend Paul hopped on a Zoom call and we laid out some plans. We, most importantly, figured out where we're going to eat in Disney World.
For those of you that are Disney planners, you'll know what a milestone this is. That means we're coming up on our 60-day mark. We're going to be making our restaurant reservations. And so we had to come up with some kind of plan, put together the pieces like a puzzle.
We leave nothing up to chance when we go to Disney, except for on the 50th. We're leaving everything up to chance on October 1st.
Oh, that day's going to be an absolute mess.
I'm going to be an absolute mess on that day.
Yeah, but it truly is an important part of the planning process when you're putting together a Disney World trip. You got to figure out where you're going to eat and when.
It's true. There are so many wonderful places to eat within Disney. In fact, there are so many wonderful themed restaurants to eat within Disney. And you know us, Adam. You know us, don't you?
Sometimes I think I have us all figured out, and some days I'm like, who are we?
Who even are we? But if you know us, you know that we love a theme. We love a themed restaurant. We love a themed party. We love a themed get-together. We just love themes in general. So you have the wonderful idea of doing a Fab Five themed restaurants within Disney.
Yes, as Patrick mentioned, it's combining two things that we absolutely adore. It's food and theatrics.
That's right. Theater and eatin'. That's what we love.
And for those of you that have not enjoyed our previous Fab Five segments, it is a countdown list from 5 to 1, listing our favorites of any given topic. And it is, of course, an homage to Disney's Fab Five. I'm talking about Mickey Mouse. I'm talking about Minnie Mouse, Donald, Daisy, not Daisy.
Nope.
She's not in there, but Donald is. So is Pluto, and so is Goofy.
Well, you almost made it through. You almost made it through that, Adam. I applaud you for your efforts.
I was very close. Daisy's part of the Sensational Six, but if she tries to break into the Fab Five, she will be executed immediately.
Oh, this got real dark. It's got real dark, as happens when I start eating. Things turn into a mess, you know?
You really haven't lived until you've been sitting across from a table watching Patrick eat.
Now that's theatrics right there. It's a real treat. It's a real treat for everybody. Well, Adam, this was your idea, so I would like to gift you the experience of revealing your number 5 Fab Five themed restaurants within Disney.
Thank you so much for this honor, Patrick. My number 5 choice is in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom. It opened in December 2015. Any guesses?
Would it be Beast's Castle, better known as Be Our Guest Restaurant?
It would not, but that's actually a really good choice.
Thank you. Then I do not know what you're talking about.
I chose for my number 5, Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen.
An excellent choice.
Thank you so much. Located in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom in Adventureland, and it features the cuisine of Asia, South America, and Africa, but more importantly, it is themed to the gods, to the Jungle Cruise.
It really is. It really is.
Right down to the wait staff, who, of course, are delivering not only your food, but also a hefty serving of puns.
So many puns. So many.
Yeah, you're kind of part of the show in this experience. I'm assuming you don't have to be. If you were like, listen, I'm not really into this, I don't really want to do it, you know, they would probably say, okay, we get it. But if you don't do that, you're going to be in on the joke.
You are. You're going to be a joke, in fact.
That's right. Lunch and dinner here will run you $15 to about $35 per adult. And what I love about this location is that it features 3 curiously quirky, those are Disney's words, rooms. We have the cruise colonial era mess hall, and that's kind of like the largest area in the restaurant. We also have the jungle room, which is the former family parlor of Dr. Albert Falls himself, mentioned on the Jungle Cruise. And then we also have the sea room, which is a once secret meeting place for the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Really just so immaculately themed. And what I love about this is that even if you're not that familiar with Sea or the Jungle Cruise even, you still have a really beautiful environment to enjoy your meal in.
That's true. It's really beautiful in there. It could borderline on kitschy, but interestingly, they took it so far past kitschy that it's actually really lovely. I assume you've eaten there before?
I have. In fact, this might be a little helpful tip for anyone who may be wanting to attend one of the after-hours parties coming up. But the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen serves alcohol. So if you want to have a drink or two before heading to the party, stop by that restaurant and get your drink on.
It's funny that you say that. I'm actually considering getting a reservation because I will be at the Halloween after-hours party this coming August. And I was thinking, hey, Patrick, why don't you head on over to Skipper Canteen before the party?
That's right. One of the few locations in the Magic Kingdom that serves alcohol. So if you want to get loosey-goosey before your party, you might want to stop by the Skipper Canteen. Really delicious food. As I mentioned, it features the cuisine of Asia, South America, and Africa. Kind of. Let's put that in quotes because they've obviously Americanized it. There's a lot of fried foods on the menu, but it is more of a unique menu within the Magic Kingdom. For instance, there's a grilled steak, there's vegetable cruise stew, there's fish, there's Thai noodles, like a really great kind of global combination of food offerings. So if you're a picky eater, this may not be the place you want to go, but if you're an adventurous eater, this might be the restaurant for you.
Yeah, it's a fusion of all of those cuisines, basically.
Absolutely. Patrick, have you been here before?
Many times. I really love this place. I always forget how much I love it, actually, because it's so beautiful. And it's got an interestingly sophisticated menu for the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, and let's face it, the Magic Kingdom, not really known for its food, but this is definitely one stop where you know you'll be able to get a really great meal.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
So that's my number 5 choice, Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen.
Excellent choice, Adam. Excellent choice. I guess that leads into my number 5 themed restaurants in Disney. I'm heading over to Disney Springs. Now, I'm not sure if this counts as a themed restaurant, but it for sure at the very least has a very specific vibe. And I'm talking about the Edison within Disney Springs. The Edison has a very industrial Gothic style, and it is meant to be a restaurant within a 1920s electric company. So it has a very steampunk era of invention vibe. I really dig it. In terms of theming that is my jam, everybody. I love that era. It's so inspiring to me aesthetically, I would say. There's also live music during dinner, which I'm all about. It's super open. It's super spacious with these really beautiful high vaulted ceilings. It's lovely. Adam, have you been to the Edison yet?
I have not. I've only peeked my head inside the door, but I want to reassure you, Patrick, this is absolutely a themed restaurant.
Okay, fair. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for backing me up on that.
I mean, really, if we get right down to it, almost every single restaurant in Walt Disney World is themed, right? But it's just like the level of theming. And this one is truly themed.
Now, as for the menu, it's currently dinner only, and it is a sit-down location, so it's going to be a little bit pricey. For apps, a few favorites are the clothesline candied bacon, which is kind of their app specialty. The bacon is maple and black pepper with a side of fruit mostarda and a sweet and spicy pickle. They also have russet potatoes with bacon, parm cheese, green onions, and, Adam, the Edison special dipping sauce.
We're back to dips.
Dips are always in my life. For dinner, they have entree salads like a Caesar salad, a burrata salad, or a chopped salad. They also have a blackened mahi, which is so delicious, and quite a few options for ribs. There's the queen cut prime rib, the Barolo short rib, or the full rack of ribs, which is the biggest meal I've ever seen in my entire life. It looks as though Fred Flintstone has ordered these ribs. It's amazingly huge. It's shareable, I would say. It's enormous.
You know, I used to wrestle under the name Rack of Ribs.
I love it for you. I love that journey for you. They also have the fan favorite Edison burger, which is sirloin, short rib, and brisket with white cheddar, crispy onions, smoked bacon, pickles, lettuce, tomato, and Adam, the Edison sauce for dipping into delicious, delicious. People go crazy for this burger. Of course, they also have specialty cocktails, so delicious, like the Manhattan West, the Electric Mule, or the Edison, which is bourbon, pear brandy, lemon juice, and honey cordial, which is my new drag name, Honey Cordial.
I love that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So here, a bare bones meal will run you $15 to $35. But let's be honest, if you're getting cocktails, dinner, and apps, it's closer to $75 to $100 per person. I feel like when we look at those prices on the menus for Disney, they're actually saying the cheapest item on the menu is $15 and the most expensive item as a meal on the menu is $35.
That's right. And they're assuming that we're going to have maybe one cocktail, which, come on, Disney.
There's not a chance you're going into a Disney restaurant and spending just $35.
Unless you get that bacon with the fruit mostarda.
If you just have that, you might get out with only $35, that's for sure.
Ooh, I'm on a diet. Only bacon and mustard.
And a gust of wind for a dessert.
Well, I'm excited to try the Edison on one of my upcoming trips.
Yeah, I believe it's on your short list of options for when you arrive in Disney on your first day, isn't it?
It truly is. It is one of the restaurants we're considering for that first evening.
Excellent, excellent. So yeah, that is my number 5 choice, the Edison in Disney Springs.
That moves us on to my number 4 choice for Fab Five themed restaurants, and I chose the 50s Primetime Cafe in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
I had a feeling this would make your list.
It opened, Patrick, in 1989. Yes, on the opening day of the park, it's one of the few remaining opening day anythings in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
True story.
It is classic American comfort food in a 50s kitsch setting. And when we say kitsch, it's fully kitsch. It's like fully kitschy kitchenette.
I see what you did there.
Because it feels like you're dining on the set of a 1950s sitcom.
Oh, for sure. It looks like you are in the TV show Happy Days.
And what's really cool is that not only are you dining in that 1950s setting, but you're also watching as you eat, because you shouldn't really talk to anyone while you're eating. You're watching televisions, which are broadcasting sitcoms from the 50s.
Yes, who wants to talk to your dinner partner? Not me. I want to watch TV and eat.
That's absolutely correct. Yes. Meals here will run you, again, $15 to $35, but we know that's a lie. Disney, stop lying to us. And what's really great about the 50s Primetime Cafe is that there is a character that you never get to experience. Her name is Mom. She's back in the kitchen. She's making you food. And Mom is a stickler for good manners, and she really wants you to clean your plate. And the servers, who are basically like your aunts and uncles bringing you food, will make sure that you're minding your manners and making sure that you're eating every last morsel that you ordered.
Be sure to not put your elbows on the table. They will call you out and berate you and shame you.
You know, when the restaurant first opened, Patrick, they used to carry around rulers and they'd slap you if you had your elbows on the table.
I would have been drunk with power if I was a server at that time.
That's not true, everybody. I made that up. But, you know, corporal punishment's a real thing. It's a real thing, everybody. Patrick and I have talked often about the bar that's located adjacent to the 50s Primetime Cafe. I'm talking about the Tune-In Lounge, where you can stop in to get a drink or an app or a full meal if you want to sit at the bar. Honestly, you can order the full menu from 50s Primetime Cafe to be delivered to the Tune-In Lounge. All of the drinks from the Tune-In Lounge, conversely, can also be ordered at the 50s Primetime Cafe, so it makes it a great location to grab a meal and a drink. Now, I will say, if you are planning to stop here and have a meal, it's going to be a heavy meal. It's a big meal, okay? We're talking about that American comfort food, and sometimes on a hot Disney day, it may not be what you want, so take that under consideration.
Yeah, really make a choice of, is mashed potatoes the best idea on a 95-degree day?
They have heavy meals like meatloaf. I'm talking about pot roast. I'm talking about a menu item called a sampling of Mom's favorite recipes, which includes, Patrick, golden fried chicken, fork tender pot roast, and meatloaf, and all of the fixins. So maybe, if this sounds appealing to you, maybe make it the last thing you do, because you will be rolled out of the park.
Yeah, it's true. It's real filling, real filling.
And again, just a warning, you will be part of the show if you decide to visit 50s Primetime Cafe. As I said, the servers will chastise you, or they'll make fun of you. You know, it's really just a kind of like a lighthearted environment. So just know that there will be jokes traded back and forth if you decide to dine here.
And not the most gender inclusive jokes, I will say. I wonder if they're going to be updating their script a little bit, because they get to be a little like ma'am and sir and mom's in the kitchen, which I don't know. It's not my favorite way to speak, but I understand it. It's from the 50s. I get it.
That's the only reason I visit here, is because it's like finally a return to American normalcy.
Oh, problematic.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just know that what Patrick says is true. So take it all with a grain of salt. It's obviously referencing the very stupid kind of locked in gender roles of the 1950s.
Absolutely. But it is worth the trip just to get that peanut butter and jelly milkshake.
Yes. Which you can also order at the Tune In Lounge. So keep that in mind too.
You can indeed share that, because it's about 14 pounds, I think.
I could never drink something that's my actual weight. Oh.
So dainty.
So that's my number 4 choice, 50s Primetime Cafe.
Well, for my number 4, we're heading over to Epcot, Adam. In fact, we're heading over to Italy. Now, again, who can say if this counts as a themed restaurant? But because it's in the United States, I'm going to say that Via Napoli is, in fact, a themed restaurant. As I said, located in Epcot in the Italy Pavilion, Via Napoli is a tribute to southern Italy, specializing in authentic Neapolitan pizza. Adam, I know for a fact you have been here.
The best pizza on Walt Disney World property.
Yes, if you're going to get pizza anywhere else, throw it in the garbage immediately after purchase, because Via Napoli is the only place to get good pizza within Disney.
Also, Patrick, I do want to confirm a wonderfully themed restaurant if the theme is hot Italian dudes.
It's true. It's very true. In fact, I wrote that down as a note. In normal times, when they do have cast members from their respective countries, the Italian site cuisine is delicious, you know?
Appetizing, yes.
Appetizing for the eyes, indeed. Eye candy. It actually, it sort of feels like you are in a restaurant in the movie Luca.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you get a chance, swing by the pizza ovens, because they are works of art.
They are works of art. I will get to that in just a minute, Adam. This is my story, not yours. So it is absolutely beautiful inside, as Adam said. It really does feel like an authentic pizza place within southern Italy. The menu, in fact, is Italian AF, with calamari, mozzarella caprese, prosciutto e melon, and a really lovely charcuterie plate as apps. They, of course, have a Caesar salad and a house salad. Main entrees will include ravioli di ricotta, chicken parmesan, and branzino. But the pizza, everybody, the pizza is where it's at. If you are a cheese pizza fan, the Quattro Formaggi pizza is outstanding, with mozzarella, parmesan, fontina, and provolone cheese with a garlicky white sauce. Adam, I know you love a white sauce on a pizza.
Big fan of a white sauce on a pizza or off a pizza.
Oh dear, yeah, a dipping white sauce. I love it. Interesting. The picante pizza is one of my favorites. It's a fan favorite, in fact, with Italian spicy sausage and mozzarella cheese, and the margherita pizza with tomato, mozzarella, and basil is Yum City. The desserts are also Italian AF, with cannolo siciliano, which is a crispy pastry filled with sweet ricotta, chocolate, and candied orange, which is delicious. But my favorite is the tiramisu. I love a tiramisu. And of course, be sure to take full advantage of the beer and the wine menu with all the Italian beers and wines that you can dream of. And before you leave, take a little walk around the restaurant and look at all the beautiful architecture and artwork. And as Adam mentioned, be sure to check out the enormous wood-burning pizza ovens named after the 3 active volcanoes in Italy, Vesuvius, Etna, and Stromboli. They are beautiful and have the faces of the gods, who are the namesake of the volcanoes, carved into the ovens. Now, depending on what you order, a meal at lunch or dinner per person would average around $40 or so. So it's not the cheapest, but it's not too bad, I would say, especially if you're sharing one of those big pizzas.
Yeah, the pizzas are huge, totally shareable. Patrick, will you make me a promise right here on this podcast?
Always. I will promise you anything, Adam.
When I die, I want to be cremated in one of the pizza ovens in Via Napoli.
I will do that before you die.
That's how I die.
That's how you're going to die. That's where you're going to rest.
No better way to go.
I would agree with you. I would agree. You're just going to be served up on someone's quattro formaggi pizza.
This is a great choice, Patrick. Such a great option for lunch in Epcot, for dinner in Epcot. You will not leave hungry, but this is a great opportunity for you to also say, you know what, I'm going to have a slice or two and I'm going to be good.
It's true. It's true. And it's a perfect location, I think, within the World Showcase, because once you're done, if you're having dinner there, just walk right out and enjoy the fireworks.
Wonderful choice. I applaud it.
Thank you so much. Hold for applause. Adam, we are now at your number 3 themed restaurant within Disney.
We're going to hop on a plane, Patrick. We're leaving Walt Disney World.
Uh-oh. I had a feeling.
We're heading over to the OG park. That's right, Disneyland. Patrick, I'm taking us to Blue Bayou Restaurant.
Such a good choice. I'm actually surprised this didn't make it higher up on your list.
Oh, are you?
Oh, I am. Is it also number 2 and number 1?
No, just number 3. It opened in March 1967. It is authentic New Orleans-inspired cuisine set in kind of like a New Orleans courtyard on a river, Patrick, would you say?
I would say that. That's exactly what it is.
There are beautiful, colorful balloon lanterns hanging above you. You can hear crickets chirp. You can hear frogs. You see these beautiful little fireflies flying around. And for those of you who may not know, this is actually the starting point for people beginning their experience on the Pirates of the Caribbean. That's right. So if you've been to the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot, you know how there's that restaurant right on the water as people are going on Grand Fiesta Tour with the Three Caballeros. Similarly, or actually originally in Disneyland, was the Blue Bayou restaurant, and it is the same kind of setup, only you're watching people embark on the Pirates of the Caribbean through a kind of New Orleans swamp. It's really beautiful.
It is really beautiful. It's like a setting from Princess and the Frog.
Absolutely that, what Patrick said. Yes. A meal here will run you $35 to $60 per adult. Likely more than that, because now, Patrick, they have added alcohol. That's right. You can get wine and beer at Blue Bayou.
Watch out, everybody.
I wish they had had that when we were there.
We would have been sloshed.
And they recently revamped their menu. I have not had a chance to experience the revamped menu, but I can say I've had mixed experiences here. The first time I went, I had a wonderful meal, and I ordered the petite filet and cold water lobster tail. I really enjoyed it. The second time I went with Patrick, it was just kind of like, okay.
But that was because I was there.
I was considering the company, and it was Patrick, and I was like, oh, well, all right. Well, no, I don't know. The food the second time was just not as good. Patrick, would you agree you weren't wowed by the food?
I would agree with that. I felt like it was a place to experience rather than a place to get a wonderful meal.
And that was upsetting because after my first experience, I was like, this is it. This is a really wonderful experience. But the second time, I don't know. But I'm willing to give it another shot. You can also get Disneyland's famous Monte Cristo sandwich there, which is an absolute chunker of an entree.
It's a husky entree.
A husky entree. That's absolutely correct. Yeah, but they do have wonderful choices. So I'll give it another shot. I'll go back and experience it again. They also obviously have things like gumbo, an important staple in New Orleans culture. So give it a shot. Also, important to mention, in normal times, this is an option for the Fantasmic Dining Package. And if you do dine at Blue Bayou, as part of a Fantasmic Dining Package in Disneyland, you will get kind of like VIP seating. They give you a nice mat. For those of you that don't know, you sit on the pavement to watch Fantasmic in Disneyland. So they give you this nice little cushion for your tushin, whatever. And you can enjoy Fantasmic from a really excellent view.
Yeah, well worth it. Well worth the investment. And it's actually not too expensive for such a lovely place to sit and just talk and experience. And their coffee is really good there too. I will say that the coffee is delicious there.
Go for the coffee, stay for Fantasmic. Patrick is absolutely right. It's only about $10 more per person to get that Fantasmic dining package if it is in fact going to be reinstated once Fantasmic returns. So just keep that in mind. Especially if you've never seen Fantasmic, you'll want to get that great seating.
Agreed. The one thing I gave it marks down on, the Blue Bayou, for aesthetic, is that it was a smidge, this is going to make me sound very old, a smidge too dark in there, especially where we sat. The closer you get to the river, I think, the less lighting you have. So it actually, I remember we had to get our phones out to read the menu.
Doesn't make us sound old at all.
Our hip new cell phones helped us read the menu.
We took out our cell phones, we put on our cheaters, and we reviewed the menu. Yes, that's how it happened.
Or rather, we just asked the waiter to read it to us because we could not see it.
So that's my number 3 choice, Blue Bayou in New Orleans Square in Disneyland.
An excellent choice. That brings us to my number 3. We're going back to Disney World, back to Magic Kingdom, Adam. I'm talking about, and I had to include this, I had to include a character dining experience because I love them. I really love character dining experiences. But I'm specifically going to talk about the Crystal Palace within Magic Kingdom. I am a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. Now, interestingly, the Crystal Palace was designed with heavy inspiration from the actual Crystal Palace in London, which we have discussed previously on the podcast, which was built to house the Great Exhibition of 1851, which was sort of the start of the series of World's Fairs that would soon follow. So, it being of London inspiration, of course, the Winnie the Pooh gang is a lovely fit for this restaurant. But before we go any further, it should be noted that currently the Crystal Palace is not a character dining experience. I do have high hopes that it will return in some form very soon. Currently, it is a sit-down meal for lunch or dinner with a prefix menu, which I'll go over in just a minute. It is a really beautiful restaurant, and it feels like you're eating in this really beautiful greenhouse. So go check it out, but just know that you will not get a character experience right now. But when that does come back, or at least when it was absolutely spectacular. Adam, you and I, in fact, have had breakfast there together.
Yeah, it's a great spot for breakfast to kind of start off your day. And Patrick is right. The character encounters are exceptional in the Crystal Palace.
Adults and children alike will love this. And who really doesn't love Winnie the Pooh? It's such a classic Disney-centric character experience. I really, really love it. So the theme, when it was Winnie the Pooh, hopefully it'll come back, was a Friendship Day celebration in the 100-acre wood with Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Tigger, and Eeyore. And every hour there would be a fun Friendship Day parade where the kids and adults are all welcome to dance around with Pooh and gang. That's a weird sentence to say. It is a top-notch experience, I have to say. The characters stay with you for a while and give you a really lovely experience, and they sometimes come back again. So it's absolutely a delight. They don't, I believe, have handlers. So if you do want photos, you have to sort of get a selfie or have someone else in the restaurant take the picture for you. Now, food-wise, it used to be a big giant buffet, which was actually really delicious. They had a really good buffet with specifically the kids' buffet is where I usually ate, with the macaroni and cheese for lunch or the Mickey waffles for breakfast. Incidentally, yes, it also used to be open for breakfast. Right now, it is not. Hopefully, that will return as well. But currently, as I said, it is a prefix menu at $39 plus tax and gratuity for adults and $23 for children 3 to 9. And with that, you get a starter to share for the table, either a salad or cheddar bacon cornbread muffins. Yes, please. You also get an entree with choices like blackened catfish, brown sugar pork chops, crispy fried chicken, or fire roasted prime rib. And then you get a shared dessert for the table with either strawberry shortcake or a dessert platter with strawberry shortcake, banana cream pie, chocolate cupcake, and Adam, hummingbird cake.
Ooh, hummingbird cake, delicious.
Delicious. And for an additional purchase, you can also order beers or wines with lunch or dinner. That actually sounds like a really sophisticated menu again in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I don't mind a non-buffet situation, but that's my own food issues because I feel like people are counting my plates.
Fair enough. I don't know if we're ever going to go back to buffets, are we? They are, I mean, in theory, a good idea, but absolutely disgusting.
My idea of a post-pandemic buffet is like an incubator in a hospital where you have to put your arms through those like glove holes and you have full-on like sleeves and you're grabbing your food that way.
Yeah. I hope that they bring it back, but do what they do at sort of, what's it called? Akershush in Epcot, where they just bring you family-style plates of just a smorgasbord of food.
It'll probably be something like that. Absolutely.
I have high hopes. Because I really love the Crystal Palace and the Winnie the Pooh experience.
I really enjoyed this experience as well. My only check mark, and this is so dumb to bring up. I don't know. People might be bothered by it, but it kind of smelled weird in there.
Huh. Okay.
Like a little bit like musty to me. And that kind of makes sense because of the Florida heat and humidity and whatnot. But it just had kind of an odd, like old structure smell to me.
Those were children, Adam. You were smelling children, and it did not agree with you. You are a witch from Roald Dahl's The Witches.
Yeah, that was my only kind of negative point against it, but everything else was absolutely wonderful. And we did really have, as I said, wonderful character experiences. And Patrick's right. If you're there for a while, and we were there for probably an hour or so, we had several passes of Tigger, Piglet coming by, and it was really just so charming.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's beautiful to sit there because you get to look out into the Magic Kingdom as well, which is just gorgeous. It's at a perfect location. And there's just something about having breakfast when it's open for breakfast in Magic Kingdom that is magical, really.
Yeah, we realize that not everybody is going to be able to take the time to do that, but we're fortunate enough that we've been to the Magic Kingdom multiple times in our lives that we can afford to take that time. We understand that not everybody can do it, but if you can, it's just a really wonderful, relaxing way to start your day.
That's right. I'm going to say it. Everyone can do that. Relax on your trip, everybody. I know that you want to do everything, but we are huge advocates of just taking your time and doing you. You know?
Cut to us at the 50th, just totally elbowing an old lady to get to Splash Mountain.
Yeah, that's true.
Great choice, Patrick. Yeah, it is a magical experience. If you have kids that love Winnie the Pooh, if you love Winnie the Pooh, it's not to be missed.
Not to be missed. Adam, it's time for you to give us your two.
Come on, we're talking about food.
Well, we were just talking about Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, and now we're talking about two.
Fair enough. My number 2 choice for Fab Five themed restaurants is probably the least themed restaurant on my list, but it's still themed, just not in like a kitschy way. And I'm talking about Sanaa at Animal Kingdom Lodge's Kidani Village in Walt Disney World.
I love it. Absolutely themed. I mean, that whole area is themed, so why not consider the restaurant also themed?
Sanaa opened in May 2009, and it features African and Indian cuisine. And for those that have never been to Sanaa or don't know about Sanaa, it gives diners an opportunity to watch the animals on the savannah outside. There's these really big, beautiful windows. And if you can score a table right next to those windows and see gazelles, zebras, giraffes, ostriches, cranes, and more as you dine. It's just this really wonderful experience of enjoying your meal and then seeing these really beautiful animals walk very close, almost right next to you, next to those windows.
That's right. Gary the gay ostrich might greet you while you're eating.
Gary might stare you down and judge you for what you've ordered. Absolutely. Yeah, so the Sunset Savannah is located right outside the restaurant, gives great views of those animals. Inside, the restaurant features traditional artisan and market goods like woven baskets and gourds and necklaces and beaded animals, really beautiful African and Indian artwork. And the food is also very exceptional. We've talked about it on the podcast before, in particular on one of my trip reports. Matthew and I had the opportunity to visit Sanaa for dinner one evening, and they have the most fantastic bread service. I'm talking about all the breads in the world. There's like 9 different types of breads. There's 9 different types of dips, Patrick.
I love a dip.
Really wonderfully fantastic flavors. And then the food itself is absolutely delicious. Lunch and dinner features entrees like tandoori chicken, and they have quinoa vegetable tabbouleh salad for those of you that are more veggie oriented. They obviously have a burger for those of you that may not be so adventurous. They have wonderful desserts. And the fun thing about Sanaa, too, is if you're staying in Kidani Village, it also offers a quick service breakfast. So you can just kind of walk in and grab and go, or you can order an entree as well. So a lot of options available to you if you happen to have the opportunity to swing by Animal Kingdom Lodge and stop off at Sanaa. Lunch and dinner will run you about, again, $15 to $35 per adult, but that depends on how much alcohol you want to enjoy with your meal. And then breakfast will run you about $15 per adult.
Delicious. Yeah, that bread service, I'll tell you what, the bread service at any of the Animal Kingdom themed restaurants, really second to none, you know?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Patrick.
Hey-o.
I think Sanaa would be even more popular if there was just more of an accessible way to get to it. You know, we've often talked about how great it would be if there was some kind of like walking bridge from the theme park Animal Kingdom to Animal Kingdom Lodge, because then you could just kind of swing by for a meal. But it is, again, a little bit more out of your way, particularly because it's at Kidani Village. You will need to either take an Uber or a Lyft or a bus and then walk to get to the restaurant.
It's true. There are some really wonderful restaurants within Disney that are, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, off the beaten path a little bit, that you have to really plan to get there. I'm thinking Sanaa, I'm thinking Boma, I'm thinking the Hoop-de-Doo Review, that a lot of people don't experience because they just either don't have the time or it's just not on the radar because it's not right there in front of them.
Yeah, it is taking time out of your day. And so if that is not as important to you, understandable. But if you want a little bit of a break from the parks, take advantage of one of these restaurants that is a little bit more of a challenge to get to.
A challenge to get to. I like that. Yeah. Hire a babysitter for the night and have a date night at Sanaa.
Or just leave your child out on the savannah and see what happens.
There you go. Put it in the care of Gary the gay ostrich.
Wonderful sitter.
It'll be a Jungle Book situation.
Fully Disney themed, so good for you.
I like it. What a sophisticated choice you've chosen for your number 2 restaurant.
Well, I'm a very classy lady, Patrick.
You are indeed. I can tell by the gown you're wearing right now.
Thank you so much. Patrick, that takes us to your number 2. What is it?
Well, I think we all knew this was going to happen, especially our friend Anna, who shares my love of this restaurant. We're heading back to Hollywood Studios for the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater, Adam.
Wonderful choice. Also, my number 1 choice. So we'll just get it all out of the way now. Hit me with it, Patrick.
I'll hit you with it right now. I'm pretty sure that I've eaten at the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater roughly 112 times. I really love it here. Every single time is a really good experience. It's located, as I said, in Hollywood Studios. It is a 1950s Americana for days restaurant designed to look like a drive-in theater. In fact, each table is designed to look like a classic car called, wait for it, an automo booth. How clever is that?
The Imagineers did that.
They sure did. There are these lovely twinkling stars above you. It's meant to look like it's sunset, basically, in Hollywood, in a drive-in theater. And while you dine, you watch old classic sci-fi movie clips and commercials straight up from the 1950s. It's just super fun, super kitschy, a little bit romantic, I would say. My dream, Adam, is to reenact the drive-in scene from Grease someday while we're in the Sci-Fi Dine-In. What do you think?
Am I Sandy?
Always. You're always Sandy.
Thank you so much.
I'm Rizzo, obviously. They are open for lunch and dinner with a crowd-friendly menu, I would say. For apps, you have onion rings, fried dill pickles, chicken tenders, which can also be a meal, or a wedge salad. And for the main entree, there's the drive-in barbecue burger, which is delicious, an oven-roasted turkey sandwich, chicken or salmon pasta, buffalo chicken salad, or a rotating specialty burger called the feature film burger. And for dessert, you've got a hot fudge sundae, warm glazed donuts with cinnamon apples, which is outstanding, or the very popular house-made sci-fi candy bar. But Adam, I am a traditionalist here, and I usually just get a chocolate milkshake, which is outstanding.
You're feeling that 50s vibe.
I really am. I love it. I love those classic 1950s dinners. They're so delicious. And then, of course, for drinks, you have wines and beers and specialty cocktails like the Magical Star cocktail with mango and passion fruit liqueur, coconut rum, and pineapple juice, or the Long Island Lunar Tea, which will F you right up.
I may have had more than one every time I've been to the Sci-Fi Dine-In.
Now that is theatrics, seeing Adam have more than one Long Island tea. It's delightful. I'll tell you what, it's delightful. Now, like I said, this is my go-to in Hollywood studios. If you can get a reservation, it's very popular and for good reason. And so popular, in fact, it's your number one.
Yes, this is a great choice. Patting you on the back, patting myself on the back, Patrick. It is great food. You will leave full, but as Patrick mentioned, the setting is so charming. And if you've had it, absolutely had it with that Florida sun, this is such a reprieve because it is so dark in there. Not so dark that you can't see like Blue Bayou, but it's just dark enough and so wonderfully themed. I love the feeling of walking onto a movie set, and this absolutely gives you that feeling.
And I'll tell you what, I don't know what it's like now with crowds being just a smidge smaller, although they're escalating every day. You can't do a walk-up situation there. You have to get a reservation. If you think that you're just going to get right in, you are mistaken, my friend, unless you want to wait for 3 to 4 hours.
In fact, that's a good note for all of the restaurants we've already mentioned. Shame on us for not mentioning it up front. But we like to hide these little facts. You got to find them. It's like a hide and seek situation. But all of the restaurants we mentioned today, it's just best to get a reservation if you can.
Yeah, if your heart is set on one of these restaurants, get a reservation in advance. Otherwise, you're really playing with chance there.
I absolutely love the Sci-Fi Dine-In. It is so charming. The food is great. You know what you're going to get. It's fun to watch the over-the-top clips and trailers they're showing from sci-fi films from the 50s and 60s. It's just an overall great experience at Hollywood studios.
They have top-notch servers there as well. At least they did. I hope they still do. I've always had a good experience with my server at the Sci-Fi.
Well, Patrick, that takes us to your number one Fab Five themed restaurant. What could it possibly be?
Well, do you have any guesses, Adam, of what it might be?
It could be Be Our Guest.
It could be Be Our Guest. It is not Be Our Guest. In fact, it couldn't be Be Our Guest because that is not one of my favorite restaurants.
Give me the park it's located in.
Magic Kingdom.
Interesting. A themed restaurant in the Magic Kingdom. Was it my number 5 choice?
It was your number 5 choice. It is Jungle Navigation Company Skipper Canteen.
I love how this has come full circle for us.
I love this journey for us. I really like it. So yeah, I like it for all of the reasons that you have mentioned. I picked this as my number 1 because for my money, this is the most themed out restaurant I've ever seen, specifically within Disney. Not only is it themed out, you can go once a day for a year and still find something new to see or discover, right?
Yeah, there's all these little hidden jokes and Easter eggs within the restaurant. A lot of references to the attraction. It's based off, obviously, the Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, it's really an ode to the Jungle Cruise. And actually, I would say more of a companion piece to the Jungle Cruise, and of course to Trader Sam's in the Polynesian Resort. And as you mentioned, it has a deep connection to SEA, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, which is heavily influenced in Disney Sea in Tokyo. I have a hope for this restaurant and all of the little sprinklings of things like this all around the world for Disney is that they're going to make a resurgence of this, right? Of the Explorers Club, specifically the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And I think that's going to be happening with this new movie, The Jungle Cruise, that we're going to get a better experience because these are such wonderful characters that they've created that, for my money, aren't highlighted enough within the parks.
Yes, it's really interesting how they were a part of Pleasure Island in Walt Disney World, and then they were taken away. And now they've kind of had this resurgence or start of a resurgence in the domestic parks anyway. And it seems like they're using the new live action Jungle Cruise, hopefully anyway, to reintroduce these characters who were non-IP based, like they weren't based in films or anything, but now they're going to be. So it seems like Disney's like, it's okay now. We can put them in the parks because they're in a movie.
Yeah, absolutely. There's such an opportunity there, I feel like, with Disney to create like their own adventures club, right? Like be a part of the club for, $100 a year or whatever it is. And you have special access to things within Disney, or you do scavenger hunts or something like that. And this restaurant could be part of it. Trader Sam's could be part of it. The rides could be part of it. I think it's a missed opportunity if they're not going down that road.
I agree. It feels like they are a little afraid of trusting their own creativity and creating something new and just fully relying on the existing IP. But no, Disney, do it, roll with it. We want things that reference sea, the Adventurers Club. We want all of that.
Back to the restaurant, though, as you mentioned, their menu is really good. It's not for everybody, probably. It's a little bit adventurous, but that sort of goes in the theme with the restaurant itself. I have to give a high recommendation to the curried vegetable crew stew. It is delicious. If you are thinking, no, I need a meat-based dish. You don't. This is delicious. Give it a try. Give it a try.
Oh, Big Meat is coming for you now, Patrick.
We're getting shut down by Big Meat, everybody. So yeah, Skipper Canteen. Give it a try. It's my number 1 recommendation. Adam hates it because it's at his number 5 spot, but it is my number 1 spot. So listen to me. Don't listen to Adam.
That's right. And if you have any complaints, you know who to report back to. Adam.Hummel
at... Just kidding.
Well, Patrick, this was a delightful segment. Not only am I hungry now, I'm also missing the over-the-top theming that Disney does so well, even in their dining establishments.
Yes, I'm very excited. It's going to be more and more excited for our trip in October to eat at a couple of these locations that we've mentioned already.
And we would love to know what themed restaurants would make your Fab Five lists. You can, of course, reach out to us on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast.
Or you can always leave us a voice memo or an email at info@gazedothed.com. Did anything almost make your list, Adam, that didn't quite make the cut, that didn't quite make the steak cut?
So many options, really, when you're considering well-themed, delicious restaurants at Disney. I did consider the Brown Derby in Hollywood Studios.
Fair enough.
I did consider Be Our Guest, which, as we all know, is absolutely themed, but it's not one of my favorite places to eat.
Yeah, agreed. Be Our Guest is beautiful inside, but the menu is lacking for me.
And that experience, right? It feels like it should be more of like a grand experience, but it's just not that, even for lunch and dinner.
Yeah, it really feels like you're entering a ballroom, but it's actually a school cafeteria.
Very that, absolutely. What about you? What almost made your list?
Honestly, Casey's Corner almost made it. I know it's not a sit-down restaurant, but it is a really, really cool restaurant, I would say. Quick service, obviously, but I love Casey's Corner.
Any chance to mention Casey's Corner? Do you have a PR deal with them?
I do actually. Every time I mention Casey's Corner, I get 2 corn dog nuggets in the mail.
In the mail?
Yep. They're still so good. It doesn't matter.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Adam.
We've reached the end of this episode, and we absolutely must get some food in our mouth holes because that last segment left us absolutely drooling over the idea of some delicious foodstuffs.
It's true. I'm just going to drink some dips after this.
And moisturize with them. They are dual purpose.
That's right. Just put some horseradish dip on your face, everybody. See what happens.
Feels so good.
It's like a chemical peel.
Well, Patrick, it's time for Quick D.
Hooray! The people cheered.
This week, we'll be doing Quick D Classic. That is when Patrick and I ask each other a question we have not been privy to prior to recording, and we answer it off the cuff. Patrick, why don't you kick us off with your question?
Ooh, that means Adam doesn't have a question in mind yet. Are you ready for my question, Adam?
Before we begin, let me just tell you, I do have a question, but I'm holding my question for second because I think you'll be funnier at answering it than I will be funny answering your question. Does that even make sense?
Oh boy, you have put me in a pickle. I am going to fail miserably under pressure. I do not do well, but Adam, here is your question. I think it seems clear that a Gaze Do the D themed restaurant needs to be in Disney somewhere. Adam, walk me through it. Tell me all about this Gays Do the D themed restaurant.
Well, it's going to be off property. It's not actually going to be in Disney.
It's off property. It's in Texas, actually.
That's right. It's located in Austin, Texas, because they keep things weird, and so do we. It's called Dips and Things. And I don't know how obvious the name is, but it features dips.
Can I make a request that it's actually Dips and Thangs?
Dips and Thangs. Yeah.
Perfect. I like it. I'm into it. I'm already invested. I don't need to know much more than that.
Well, I just want to mention one more thing, and that's in order to keep our overhead low, you have to bring your own things to dip.
So we don't provide the and thangs.
Well, it's dips and sauces, so those are the thangs.
Got it.
But you need to the guests need to bring their own things to dip.
I like this. A dip flight, if you will.
Yeah, but it's just giant troughs in the restaurant set up with different dips and sauces. So you just bring your things and you dip them. It's a very communal dining experience.
I'm picturing like a blue cheese fountain happening.
Delightful. Can't you just imagine super chunky blue cheese being spurted out of a fountain like a fish's mouth or something like that?
I can't imagine. And would it be if you know what it would be? You know what the fountain shape would be.
No, tell me what.
Vesuvius would be involved. That's for sure. The god Vesuvius.
Oh my. Mm-hmm. Oh my.
Mm-hmm. I am repulsed and aroused at the same time at this.
Yeah. So Dips and Things. If there's any investors out there who want to reach out to us, we are willing to travel to you to really walk you through this experience and deliver a PowerPoint, the likes of which you've never seen.
You've never seen, and you never want to see it again. I'm thinking, is this not just a fondue restaurant, Adam?
It's a fondant. You don't want to go to this one. Fondant hit up Dips and Thangs.
Oh no, you better don't.
That's right. That's right.
I like it. Dips and Thangs. You heard it, everybody. You can invest by going to gaysdothed.com and clicking on that donate button.
I can just hear Tweedles canceling their Patreon payments at this very moment.
If there's a chance that it's going toward a startup for Dips and Thangs, they're getting out. They're taking their money and running.
This is the moment when they're like, they've gone too far. I can't support this podcast anymore.
Patreon itself has just shut down, actually, because of this.
All right, Patrick, here is my question for you, also related to dining. How could it not be? Give me a couple, maybe 2 or 3 Disney movies that should absolutely never, ever, ever have a restaurant associated with them.
I like this. I'm thinking Old Yeller should never have a restaurant themed after it. Or maybe it should, in that this is where you take your children to let them know that their pet has passed away. You take them to Old Yellers.
That's what we call a niche restaurant in the business.
It's very specific. Mm-hmm. Get in the car, kids. We're going to Old Yeller. Oh, no. Something terrible has happened.
The food is delicious. We should say the food is absolutely delicious, but the theming is just a nightmare.
It's a real nightmare. It's an emotional mess, absolutely. So Old Yellers, probably not going to happen.
Probably not going
to happen. If I have anything to do with it, it's absolutely going to happen.
Okay, Old Yeller.
Along those lines, I feel like Bambi would be an inappropriate themed restaurant to dine in.
There is a theme. Here, yes.
On entrees, we have the roasted rabbit.
Oh, no. No. Thumper.
And of course, the venison served with a raspberry chutney. Entitled Mama.
I'll have the mama.
It's called What Happened to Bambi's Mom?
And taking its cue from Trader Sam's, there are theatrics when you order it. It actually starts to snow when you order it.
You hear a gunshot when you order it. That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. To become a patron of the podcast, visit our website at gaysdothed.com/donate. For a donation of any amount, you can receive exclusive Gays Do the D content and help us continue to bring you the very best Disney news and discussion. Continue the conversation after this episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.